Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial by Nocode Africa. Now this is going to be a very different tutorial, different from what you're already used to. All right, so I'm not going to be the one teaching here. We're going to be having Toby Salami teaching us Paystack API integration. So Toby is one of our students at the Nocode Africa program. We've been doing like lots of free training in different cohorts, cohort 1 till I think till 6, and then we started the Nocode Africa bootcamp. And so he was a student in one of the cohorts, and he's finally back here to give back to the community. He wants to take us through how to integrate Paystack in your application. All right. So for our foreign audience, Paystack is more like it's a payment gateway, all right, where most countries in Africa use, particularly Nigeria. And so if you get to like watch this video, you understand how to even read documentation that has to do with API. You get to understand how to even play around APIs. And then you will also learn how you can actually integrate Paystack into your application in case your client is a Nigerian or your client is someone who is interested in understanding how to integrate Paystack into the application. So Toby, really good to have you here. How are you?
Hi, good morning, David. I'm so glad to be here.
All right. How does it feel to be giving back to the community?
I just feel at least I've been able to achieve one or two things from their community, and I'm so glad to be able to give back to the community.
Great. Thank you so much for being here, and we are super excited about your journey. We're excited about the many things that you've been able to accomplish, and so just a brief recap of what I said earlier. So we're going to be, trying to understand the Paystack API integration, and Toby is going to walk us through that. So the platform that you're looking at right now is a it's a language in Nigeria called Ibibio Debudia, right? So, but you can call it Depudia, all right? So it's more like an idea we came up with to help the local, not local anyways, the restaurant owners in Nigeria to be able to manage their food orders, right? So that means you can actually just, you as a customer, you can just like walk into a restaurant and then see a QR code on the table and you scan it, see the online food menu, and then you order for the food online directly from your phone without having to interact with the owners of the restaurant. And then after it, you can actually get the food delivered to your table without any interaction. Well, okay, at least there'll be some interaction when the person brings the food to your table. So we're going to be using the Debodia platform as a case study where we're going to try to use it to understand how to integrate Paystack. So Toby, over to you. Walk us through how we can start this.
Hi, this is going to happen. Now I'm working on the video. Now, this I'm going to integrate Paystack integration into it, and then let me log into the dashboard.
Okay.
See, because this is connected to Firebase,
Okay.
so I'm going to log into the dashboard. And then I'm going to pay for a food I love so much.
Okay. I'd like to
Yeah.
see the food that you love so much.
So now I'm going to order. I'm going to now go to the link, my restaurant link. So I'm not going to scan a QR code right here. I already have a link to this my
I, I,
restaurant
I guess
that
you
I
can.
love.
I guess you can find that in the settings.
Yeah, you can find that in settings, but it's not. Yeah, I can find that in settings, and then I can simply go to this restaurant info, sorry, QR
QR code.
code,
Yeah.
and then
Copy the link.
I can simply like, copy the link or carry my and get my phone and then
Scan the QR code.
get the QR code and then scan the QR code and then I get to my page, my restaurant page. But now this is the URL, but you can simply copy it and then paste it on your browser. But I have already done that already, and it's already here.
Okay.
I opened the page here already. So let me just clear my cart. I've already added some food that I love so much. So let me clear my cart. Thank you. So let's go here and then I'm going to select the food I love so much. Rice and
Rice
beans
and
and then
beans.
rice and stew.
Oh,
It's my favorite
nice.
food.
Nice. I
So and
prefer
then
rice and stew, anyways.
that's nice, nice, tastes nice. So I'm going to go to my cart and then I have selected it and then this is my total balance. So I want to pay through Paystack API. and then I'm going to pay online.
Okay.
But now we are not going to work with live payments. We're going to work with test payments,
Test payment, of
right?
course.
So we're
Okay.
going to work with now. Let's just click success and then let's pay with the money, right?
Oh, great. All right.
So now it redirects me back to my
The
mobile
six.
app and then tells me success. The payments
Okay.
have fully been paid. Right. So now I'm going to give you guys step by step on how to go about the restaurant, about the API. First of all, let's read the documentation, and then from there you can get the knowledge on how to pay, how to perform a transaction, and then how to initialize transaction and verify the transaction if it's successful or not.
Okay, so before you continue, so it's going to be more like an interactive session where I'm asking you questions and then you will be like responding to it because I'm going to try to be as inquisitive as the people that will be watching this or the people that are currently watching this. Yeah. Okay. So, what exactly is API? What does it really mean?
API is a full meaning of API is application. Is an application software that helps to interact with the backend
Okay.
through a means of endpoints, either in JSON, either in through www So there
Okay.
are different ways to interact with the backend. But one is JSON, and then some other ones. There are several kind of ones that you can interact with different
Okay. Can are you there? Can you hear me?
method,
Okay. So I think
right?
I lost you briefly.
Yeah,
I think I lost you briefly there, but can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so you were trying to give us like the description for an API.
Yes,
Yeah. So
right.
from well, I had to steal some time and look at the full meaning of the acronym API. So it's more like a application programming interface. You were trying to like
Yeah.
define it again, but maybe just give us one more flow around it, because like explain it to me as you would explain to a child.
All right. So an API is an application program which helps to interact with already made backend
Okay.
with the client side, depending on the kind of applications. But there are two ways you can interact with an API. There's some
Okay.
APIs that are made in different programming languages. So what an API does is that it interacts with the client side. What I mean by client side are the front ends of mobile apps, and then um, web apps, and so different kind of apps you're building with, right? So that's like a brief definition of API. You can then go more about do some research on APIs.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. So, I well, we will get back to this at some point. So, so right now, what exactly do you want to show us?
So in this API, I want to show you guys on how to perform an API endpoint using the initialize transaction and then verify transactions. In
So,
a couple of videos, I'll be able to tell you guys on how to let users place transfers like withdraw from probably you have a wallet balance or on your account or the rest. So I'll do an API on that on the next video.
all right, no problem.
But for
So,
now, I'll be on initializing transaction and verifying transaction.
all right, no problem. Let's get to it. Let's see it. All right.
All right. So in this API, there are different kind of API methods. There's the get method, there's a post method, there's a delete method, there's a put method, and there's a patch method. So this API is just similar to your CRUD. That's create, read, and update, and then delete. So
Okay.
now let me compare it to your CRUD. If you're familiar with Firebase, then this shouldn't be a problem. Now, what I mean by get method, it's when you're querying from the backend through an endpoint. But necessarily you don't it's through an endpoint. And then what I mean by post method, it's you are creating a document. You are sending a document to the backend, either through data. So the data are usually in JSON. There's some APIs that the content type are in JSON. There's some ones that they are in JSON. so there are some ones that are in HTTP, and there are some other ones that are in various kind of ones. But as the video goes on, I will tell you guys the different kind of ways you can pass in different kind of body to
All right.
your APIs.
Okay. All right, no problem. Just walk us through straight away how to get this done directly in FlutterFlow, and the different things that we need to pick from the API documentation here and all of that.
All right, so in this documentation, we are going to start with the initialized transactions. First of all, we will need an API URL. There we need a authorization header. That's going to be a bearer. That's going to be where you're going to pass your API keys in your into your API, right?
Okay, so
So there are
okay,
right.
so I think I think you could like take us to FlutterFlow, and then from there try to set up the create the uh, try to set up the API. Then from there we get to see the different things that we need to use the API. Yeah.
All right. So now let me add on to my FlutterFlow. I have created some copies of API yet, but I'll take it from the scratch real quick on how to do that.
Great.
So, so I'm going to create a new called API call. I'm going to name it initialize transaction. So initialize transaction. I'm going to name this API called initialize transaction. But this method I'm going to be using is going to be a post method. So let me go back to the documentation. So now, as you can see here, um, you will see a place here where they call post. This is called a method
Okay.
to interact with the API. Now this is going to be through a URL. This is the URL I'll be using to call the transaction. So let's add them back here and then copy it. And then let's add our headers. So these headers are in different types. There's authorization bearer, and there are some APIs don't need API keys. Those are open end APIs. But in this API, we'll be needing our API keys,
Okay.
right? So we're going to pass in our bearer key, and then the next one will be our secret key, but we won't be using our secret key.
But how do we how would you know that it is supposed to come on the header in the API setup? How did you know?
So in the API setup, it's said in the document, it's been stated in any it's been stated in by the document by Paystack that we need an authorization bearer. So there are different kind of ways you can pass in your headers. There are true content type and there are true authorization.
Okay.
So now, well, we'll be using these two headers. So header is like like your username and password to access an API back end,
Okay.
right? That's what I mean like an authorization pair is like you're authorizing the user or each client through your own API key that API Paystack has given to you,
Okay.
right?
I get that.
So now we are gonna be instead of me pasting my API keys, which I won't be doing for
Okay.
security's sake, we're gonna pass it through a variable. So I'm gonna name the variable API keys, right? API key. And then I'm going to pass in a content type called application stroke JSON.
Meanwhile, sorry to interrupt you a bit. You said this is supposed to be like a post method, but on the FlutterFlow dashboard, it's still a get method.
Oh yeah, I'll change that.
Okay. You
Don't do
see, I'm a
that.
good student.
I'm going to change that to a post method.
Okay.
So because we're going to use a post method for this, right? And then we're going to be using variables. So this way I'm going to pass in my variables because if I want to pass in what I have put in this bracket, I'm
So
going to put in the variables here,
I see you're adding two headers. Why do we have two headers? Can we have
right?
just one header?
Yeah, we can have more than two headers, but this is the compulsory one. This is optional.
Okay,
You
the
can
second
choose to
one
put
is
it.
optional.
Yeah, the other one is optional, but you can choose to put it or not. But this is
Okay.
a very compulsory one. If not, you get an error from the API telling you
Okay.
to demonstration an API key to your calling.
Okay.
Right. So, but it's up. It's optional. You can remove it if you
No.
choose to.
All right. No problems.
So you can then add a variable called API key.
Okay.
API key. I'm gonna pass it as a string because it's gonna be a different kind of. type, because there are different kind of ways you can pass in your variable strings, numbers, and the rest.
Okay.
But now we're going to pass in our body type. Like I said, there are different ways you can pass in your JSON. There's through the JSON, there's through the text, there's through the W form URL. This is like the more or less like the HTTP way you can pass in um, your own endpoints. But it depends on the kind of API you're working with. But now we are working with Paystack, and then the kind of body endpoints we'll be passing is going to be through a JSON. So we're going to pass in a JSON, and then let's go back to our API document and then paste, copy this data. This is where you're going to pass in the body.
Okay.
Copy, and then go here and then paste it. Right. So now we need to pass this dynamically from the user side. So we don't need you telling users come here. So you're going to pass it dynamically from user side once we are using the API call on the UI of the app we have. Right. So I'm going to pass in a variable called email.
So whose email is this going to be?
So this email will be the email registered by the users. Probably they have registered on the platform and they
Okay.
have put in an email. So
Okay.
this email is where Paystack sends receipts of the payments the user has made on the platform,
Okay. Okay.
right? And then this is going to be the we're going to pass in the amount. This amount is going to be in double.
Okay.
It's because it's going to be in double, and your email is going to be in strings.
String.
Don't forget
Okay.
that, right? And then now, if you want to put in your API, your variables, then we can then delete this that was made from Paystack, and
Okay.
then copy and you can drag it and you can simply type it, but it's just good to drag it,
Okay.
and then you can simply drag this amount
Okay.
and
This
then
simply
paste it
means
here.
is yeah. This simply means it's coming dynamically now.
Dynamic from your UI front end,
Okay.
right? So let's go ahead and
I
then
just noticed that you clicked on the format button. What exactly were you doing?
yeah, this format is to format. Let's say for instance I put in my data like this. I pass in my body like this, and then I click on format. It helps to rearrange it in order.
Okay. Because
In
is it because JSON requires this specific kind of arrangement for it to work normally?
So a format is to check if whether there's an error. Let's say for instance I put in a comma here, and then I put in a comma here. JSON is this format is to check if you are passing it in a correct order, because JSON body it has a principle that you have to follow. It's more or less like you are coding, because there are some syntax errors you can come across, and then you can use these formats to check whether you are passing the correct body, correct
Okay.
form of JSON,
All right. I think
right?
I understand what you mean now. Okay.
So just let's put it back where it is, and then the
Okay.
error has gone. But if you put the error comma here, you're gonna get the error. So just to check if there's an error in the body, right? So now let's go ahead and then we are going to test to see if this API call is actually working or not. I've added, let me add it. So I already have my API keys ready here. So let me just copy this API keys and then. For your notice, before you guys get to watch this video, this API keys won't be available because I must have deleted it from the backend. So let's go ahead and test this. And then I put in the email. Let's say the email of the user I want to receive the email, I want to receive the receipt on. So I'm going to pass in Toby at Gmail. And then pass in the amount as 10,000. Right now, there's one thing you guys don't know about Paystack. Paystack now passing amount as in Kobo. So what is it? For instance, you put in 1,000. Eventually, it won't be 1,000. What Paystack recognizes is going to recognize it as 10 naira,
Okay.
right? So let me
Basically,
just go back to
for our foreign audience, naira is like the our currency here in Nigeria. All right.
yeah. So now let's see what I'm trying to talk about. Now, if you go here and you see amount, it's let's go to the this one. All right, so it's gonna be like in it's gonna be in Kobo, because yeah, it's gonna be in Kobo. Okay, right. So the amount should be in a subunit of supported currency. So a subunit is like the subunit is like Naira and there's Kobo. Kobo is the least unit of Naira we spend here.
Just like dollar and cents.
Yeah, dollar and cents compared to
Okay.
that, right? So now, what Paystack recognizes is going to recognize it as a Kobo. But where we won't be working with Kobo, I will tell you on how to convert from Kobo to Naira using the code expression on FlutterFlow,
Okay.
right? So now let's add in like 10,000 so we can get 1,000 as our amount. So let's
Okay.
test the API call. Right, so it's successful. So now this is what we'll be needing. We'll be needing the authorization URL, which is the checkout. So we can just simply select it and then I'm going to save it, this JSON part um, for our future. Let's
So
say you want to use on
so
URL.
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you, can you scroll back up? Let me see so this particular results page right now that says 200 success. This is like the result of the API call. This is like what the API gives you after you've actually made the call, right?
Yeah,
And
this
so
is the results. It's more or
okay.
less like giving to the API and you're getting your results from.
Okay, so that simply means that now that you've seen the different things that the API is giving out, you can decide on which one you want to store in your local storage. That's your Firebase, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's gonna happen. But now I told you there are different ways your API interacting. Now I told you that there's a post method, and that post method is going to create a document. Right
Okay.
now, this has actually created a document on the Paystack backend that there's this particular user that wants to perform a transaction, right? So
Okay.
now this has created a post method, and then once you have performed that transaction, and then it's successful, Paystack gets to delete it. Or no, they don't get to delete it. It gets to store it as a verified transaction.
Okay.
Now we're gonna let's try and test out this URL. So we're gonna copy this URL and then see whether it's actually a real. It's gonna work or not. So let's go to my browser and then I'm gonna paste in my URL, right? So it's gonna load and then I can click success. And then once I click success, it tells me, oh, my payment is successful. And then I get to wait to redirect users back to the app. So let's go back
Okay.
to
Okay. So basically, okay. So let me try to like recap again to see if at all I get what you're saying. So now when you make a call that make when you make the API call, it gives you some variables. It gives you
yeah.
some results, right? That particular one that you just pasted on your tab is more like the link that the user is supposed to be redirected to so that they can go ahead and finally make payment, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Wait, that's like a checkout page from Paystack,
Okay. Okay.
right?
All right.
So now now that we are passing our email amount, now once the user pays, we need to get the users back to our app or our website, or probably have a website, and then this is where we put in our callback URL. This is the callback URL we're going to pass into the body, right? This is callback URL. We pass in this callback URL to redirect users back to the app. And let's go back to our call definition and add the callback URL to the body. Okay. Okay, I haven't added the name. Let me add the URL. So that's why it's giving me that error. So let's save it. So save that and then let's go back to our call definition and then go to the body and then just put a comma and then put a double column, a double quote and then add a callback URL. But we're going to pass this callback URL as probably as a link. So we're going to add it as a string here as a variable. So let's add it as a URL and then let's add it to the body. And then
Okay.
let's space format to see if we are passing the correct format. And yes, we are passing the right format. Right? So I will tell you on, but you can simply put any link. Let's say for example I put in Google or let's say for example in Google.
So this particular link is when the payment the transaction is successful. This is the page that the user gets to see.
Yeah, this is the page the user gets to see when the payment is successful.
Okay.
So we can just use this Google as an example, and then once we pay the money, it's just to redirect us to Google page. This is just like an example.
Okay.
So let's try and run a page, and then just simply click on sussex. Then we should get a redirection from to Google.
Okay.
See,
Perfect.
so
So this is
that's
sup-
we.
so this is supposed to like redirect the user to a particular page within the web application, right?
Yes, within the web application. And let's say, for instance, you have a deep link on your mobile app, you can simply paste deep link on the callback here and then redirect the user back to the mobile app he has left,
Oh,
or
okay.
he or she left.
Okay.
So now let's go back to our app, and then let's use this way we have the endpoint of the API. Now we are going to save in the URL, and then we are going to save in the reference. Sorry, let's save the reference. This reference is to verify the transaction if it's actually successful
Okay.
or not. Reference ID, and then let's
Okay.
save it. Okay, I think that's what we need, right?
Uh, I think we had like check again. Check the response again. The results. I think we had authorization URL, access code, and reference. Why are we not saving the access code?
So this access code is how I put it. It's how I put it in Paystack. It's more or less like a code in which it's only recognized to the backend, right?
Okay.
So
So
they
we
recognize to the
don't need it
backend.
right now.
We don't really, it's not really important. It's an optional value to pass, but
Okay,
you
that's
can read
fine.
more about it right here. So,
All
but
right.
it's not really an important response to use. We just need the reference and then the authorization URL.
Okay.
That's it. Then let's save it, and then let's go back to our mobile app, and then I've already done the UI of this platform, and then let's get back here. I've done this already, so let's go back to my component where I store it. So let me create a button, and then you guys can see the way I pass in the.
No, maybe you could just okay. You're creating a new button. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that would like so get guys get the understanding on from
Okay.
scratch. So pay, right? So this is where we now have to pass in where the user the MP, right? So what I'm going to do here is that we're going to send in an API call.
Cool.
We're going to call it an API call on our FlutterFlow editor. We're going to add this, and then we pick from our API call, which is this last one we did. And then we're going to pass in our set of variables. Like I said, we're going to pass it dynamically to from the um, from the users. And so we're going to pass in this API, but this time we won't let the user put in the API itself. We're the one that's going to add the API key ourselves. This is oh sorry. This is let me go ahead and copy the API call key. Sorry. Let me go ahead and copy it from our test browser. Like I said, before you guys get access to this API key, it's
Instead
going
of
to be available
implemented,
in
of course.
areas. So sorry. So you have to create your own account on Paystack and then have your own API key to use for your transactions. All right. So I paste that, and then let's pass in our email. This email is going to be taken from the users, um, from the authenticated users, which you user have signed up with, email user signed up with, and then the amounts.
Okay.
Those will be the amounts.
So these
Um,
were the variables that you had created that time while setting up the API, and so
right.
you're trying to see how you can add value, like give it value.
Yeah, this is where I'm going to feed in the data to the API call to give us our response.
Okay.
So now, initially, when I was designing the video platform, I created a app state called cat sum. That's where I get the sum of what I've added to the cart
Okay.
on the page. So if you want to know more about e-commerce, you can check on Space YouTube channel to watch some
Tutorials.
platform tutorials on building an e-commerce store. So let's add in the amount. right? So add in this cut amount, right? So this is going to be the cut sum. So that's where the total amount I have, and then we're going to pass in the URL. This is where we're going to pass in the URL to where the
The
users get to, right? So now let me go ahead and copy the URL I have here already.
okay.
Sorry. Um, yeah, let me copy this. Let me copy my URL, my success URL page. So if you want to know about your how to get your URL from FlutterFlow, you can simply either deploy it to the web and then you can get your URL. But as of now, FlutterFlow hasn't got any way to get a new deep linking because of the Firebase scraping of deep linkings from their server, right? So FlutterFlow is working on a means to create an optional ways we can pass in a deep link into FlutterFlow, right? Whereas as now we're going to be working with our web publishing link, which we
Okay.
have already done that already.
All right.
Right. So let's just play this and then okay, that should be yeah. And then I have a success page. That's the route to success page. If I'm correct. So I can get the real yeah. So I don't want to pass in the reference name because we have already done that already. So that's where I pass in my callback URL to
Okay.
direct users back to the app. So now once let's say for instance there's an error from Paystack or probably they are not functional or maybe they are having a downtime, we can then pass in a because in each every click you do or any software you do, you have to have a response you give to your users for user experience. Let's say for instance, users maybe the API is not working and then you need to show to user that oh probably there's an error from the Paystack API. So they
Okay.
just want to share that. Oh sorry, you can say sorry, the API call is not available. API call not available.
Okay.
So you can just go to either as red. It's going to be like snack bar. So let's select the color.
This is basically if at all the API call fails.
Yeah, if it's an error from the Paystack. For instance, maybe you don't have the 200 sources from the API call.
Okay.
So now this is going to be a place where you're gonna get an error. So let's make it red to show that oh there's actually an error. And then this is where we're going to launch our URL to direct users to another page. Launch URL. So this URL, this is where I'm going to pass in. I'm going to pass it from the action output from here. So the action output I have here, I've given the name to the API results TCCRY. So
Okay.
this is where I'm going to pass in the results from I get from my API call from here. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to go to action output, go to API TC results, and then go to JSON body, go to redefine part, and then go to my URL
Okay.
to confirm it. But another thing is that I want to store in the reference. Just for instance, I want to verify, oh, probably this user has actually paid not or not. So I'm going to store it as a document, as a
Okay.
transaction document here. So let's
So you
study. I'm going to store
you
this.
already had a collection for that called
Yeah,
transactions.
I created a collection for that called transaction in Firebase. So I'm going to name it, give it a name. I'm going to pass in here, and then I'm going to get the name from my
Authenticated
um,
user. Okay.
authenticated, and then I'm going to pass in the probably the amount. I'm going to pass in the amount from the variable from the sorry. So we are back. So sorry for the breaking transition. I think I had an error from my end.
It's
So
okay.
right.
We got you.
So now let's, as well, I was saying, and then we're going to pass in the amount from the card sum, which is going to take it from the upstate. So I'm taking from app state, and then we're going to pass in the reference ID, and then just pass in the reference ID. That's going to be taken from the action outputs.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to store that to verify users transaction. Okay, no, that's predefined parts, and then that will be the reference ID. So save that. I think we are. Oh yeah, and then let's pass in the UID to show that it's always from unique users from here. Um, so let's no, let's take it from the authenticated users. That'll be your users reference. So we save that to for that, and then
Okay.
we then pass in the
Just
users to the launch URL.
since we had a break in transmission, right? Just go ahead and then like run through the whole stuff again. Not the whole thing, not everything. Just where we have like the last thing you just added.
So the last thing I added was I added the amount
So
which
you're
is going to be taken from
yeah, so you're
app
basically trying to store the details of the API call in the collection called transaction.
transactions. That's
Okay.
going to be on the Firebase. So I'm going to store in this users the transaction ID and then the user's ID
Okay.
just for clarity. And
Okay.
then I'm going to from there and then I'm going to pass in the users to go to the launch URL, which
Okay.
will be taken from the action output here.
Okay. All right.
All right, so let's just launch it, and that will take a lot, right? So I don't want to run it very quick. So why it runs, let's go back to the way we're going to verify users. So I'm going to locally on my system. So why it runs, let's now go back to where we're going to verify users. So this is going to be a success page, and then at this part, we're going to show, oh, this is where we're going to verify the um if the um if the studio was successful or not. So
Okay,
let's
but why do we have to do that? Because if at all the payment was successful, the user will be brought to this success page, and that simply means that the payment was successful. So why do we still need to go ahead and then do what you want us to do?
so now well the reason why I want to show that is because we can pass in the details for, let's say, the transaction details right here to show, oh, this is the name that I use in registering the food. This is your reference ID. Probably you have an error. Probably you got money, transfer money from your bank, and your money got deducted, and then it didn't reflect on the platform. Then you can show the status if it actually went through or not.
Okay, so you want to just show the transaction reference on this particular page so that
Yeah, just
so that the user can use it to report if at all something went wrong or not.
yeah,
Ah,
if the thing went through or not. So
okay.
you can just simply like show, let's say, the name of the user. Let's add this. Let's say the name, and then let's get this from here. Let me add I've added an action call here. So I'm going to add an action called query parameters. So I'm going to query from the backend, query collections, and in this collection I'm going to query it on transactions.
Okay.
So
And then
now
you have to
I'm
filter
going to
it, I
do it.
guess.
I'm going to filter it based on the UID.
Okay.
I'm going to be filter it based on the UID. Um, the name cost
Okay.
to the UID, right? So I'm going to filter other ones to the name because
Okay.
anything at the name of the equals to the name of the user,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So that's going to be
So we're going to have to, you know, bring the session to a close because I've just figured out that your system might be going off soon. So we'll try to put it like wrap it up now.
all right. So now let's just wait for it to run. I just want to do this to while away time to know whether whether it's actually went through, whether the what we did at the initialized transaction went through. But
Okay.
I would love to like create an API to verify the API key because there are two ways you can verify your transaction. There's through the manual method, which is
Can we
um
test? Can we? Sorry to interrupt you. Can we test what you have just done in real time? Like
oh yeah, sure.
yes.
Uh,
So we can see the how the new button is working. Yeah.
yeah, so that's the new button, and let me log into
Then
my.
we can do the next one in the next tutorial. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's not really a problem. So in the next tutorial, we're going to talk about where on how you're going to verify the user.
Okay. That's fine.
So let's okay. I already created hold on. So this is going to happen. This is going to be a local host, but it's not. I need to get
The
the
link
new the link
to the food
the
menu.
link full menu restaurant page.
Okay.
So let me just get the link from here. Yep. So I'm going to clear this please. So I'm going to get the link to the food menu restaurant page.
Okay.
Then let's wait for it to run. And then I'm going to test out whether the transaction was successful or not. Right. So
Okay.
now I'm going to run it locally,
Yeah. So
and then
as soon as we see that, we can just like close the tutorial for today.
yeah, and then you see you guys in the next tutorial
No
where
problem.
I discuss where we can discuss on how to verify the UID and verify the API for each user. So let's add this order. Add
Okay.
some orders here. And then okay, let's wait for me. Okay, this is a new one. This is a
It
new
did not
test.
show the new
Yeah,
the
it didn't show the new one, so let's just wait for the new one. It
okay.
didn't show this is the new one it's supposed to show. We just add it directly and then we test it from here. This is not the new. That was the old one.
Okay.
All right, so this is going to be new. So from here, we're going to testing the either you can initialize the transaction. This is where we test it. So, hmm. So if you have any question concerning the API, you can just leave a comment on the YouTube channel, and then we can read it, and then we can create a new video for you to answer your question.
Perfect.
So so now this is first of all, we need to add something to the cart for you to work.
Okay.
So we have added some nice
Items.
food to here, and then supposed to say something here. Yeah, and then we're going to pay with this new button I created, and then we're
Okay.
going to create. Okay, so something in one point somewhere. So we need to just test the let's test it out to see it works. Something was passed wrongly. Um, okay, I didn't sign up on this page, so that's why I'm getting an error. I didn't sign up with my email. I just had to go to the restaurant straight, and then I just got to the pay. So now I'm getting an error that oh I need to pay with my I need to now I'm getting an error from Paystack. So let
Because
me
it
just put in a
okay.
random email. So I
Okay.
just remove this email and then I put in this email. So that's why I'm getting an error.
Okay.
So let's test it out again. So let's reload it. This is a local run. It lasts longer than the debug mode. It's
Okay.
actually good to get your FlutterFlow on your software on your system, and then you can do prayers for a long time and test it for a long time.
How long does it take before it like finally loads up?
Takes few minutes, like within a minute, it reloads by itself. Within
Okay.
a minute, less than a minute, it just loads. That's what they call hot reload.
Okay.
In if you're familiar with virtual code, virtual studio code or virtual code, you get familiar with hot reload and hot restart. So right now I'm doing a hot reload to the app. It shouldn't take so much time.
Okay.
So it's real fast within a minute.
Yeah, this is pretty fast.
So let's get here, and then let's get to pay online.
All right.
So this should work. Okay. Sorry. Oh, I see the reason. I didn't deploy my I didn't deploy my
Your the
pastor
Firestore
rules.
rules.
Very
Okay,
important.
for the new
Very
document.
for the new document. It's very very important. That's why I'm getting that error. If not, it could have worked. That's deployed very quick, so that should work.
Okay.
So if you come across this kind of error that you see that your things are not working, just deploy your file storage and you're good to go. So right, okay, now you see that it is 17 naira yet. I was supposed to talk about the code expression.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how to use the code expression here, real quick. It's gonna be quick. So now let me go here and then to use the code expression, let's pass in the amount. So when we pass in the amount, we code expression. This is my code expression, and then let's pass an argument, which is going to be an amount, which is going to be from the app
Cut
state,
the
which
cut
is
song.
cut.
Okay.
Okay, where is cut on? Which is going to be cut so. Okay, confirm. Well, it's going to be in a double.
Yes.
So don't do that. So it's going to be a double, and then let's put in. So the name has to be very equal. So you're going to use the argument called amount times 100.
Okay.
So it has to be the same name in this, and then we're going to check in for errors. Which should be
Do you
good.
need to change the return type?
Nope, we don't need to change the return time. You can it simply does it by itself.
Okay.
FlutterFlow does it for you, so it's optional to do that.
All right.
So just save that, and then let's try and run it again.
Okay.
So let's cancel this, and then let's wait for it to restart.
Okay, all right, guys. So I believe that you've learned a whole lot from Toby Salami, right? And he has been trying to see how to walk us through API integration, particularly for in the favor of Paystack. All right. So if at all you enjoyed this tutorial and then you like what we do here on the Uspace YouTube channel where we talk about No Code Africa, right? You can just go ahead and click on the subscribe button and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and then also try to drop a like on this particular video so the YouTube's algorithm will show more people that are going to find this very very useful. And then of course, just like Toby said, if at all you have more questions and concerns about how to set up the Paystack API, all right, in your application, you can just drop comments and then we will read through it and see how we can support you. All right.
All right, so let me just run that real quick and show you. Now that we have done the code expression, which shouldn't be having yep, see, it multiplies it, so it converts it to the normal naira, and then as you can see, it's 70,000 15 naira or 500 naira. So let's pay and then get a success, and then we get the redirect to our success page, right? So have a nice week ahead.
This is
That should,
this is really cool. I think it's still loading. Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
So that's get the success page,
No
and then
problem.
you can
This
from
is
then work.
this is really good. Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you so much for contributing to the community. Like, we're super excited about your growth, like I said at the beginning, and we'll be looking forward to having you frequently on our channel, where you get to, of course, dish out like lots of information and lots of knowledge to the members of the community. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
being here on the session, and we hope to see you again in the next one. Thank you very much.
and you have a nice day too, David.
All right. So to everybody, thank you very much for also watching this video. I believe that it has been super useful to you. So you can actually go ahead and share it to your friends, colleagues, people that are also trying to see how they can build mobile and web application without writing codes using FlutterFlow. And then, of course, you can always keep counting on us to produce really, really amazing tutorials to help you understand how to use FlutterFlow and other no-code instruments. All right, guys, see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.